This is the tale of 8 adventurers who dared oppose a god and restored light to Icewind Dale. Belissimo, a cheerful half-orc rogue with a mysterious past. Laremy, an inspiring dragonborn bard with a mysterious past. Ripper, a brilliant kobold artificer with a mysterious past. Murdan, a hulking goliath paladin with a mysterious past. Kelagor, a taciturn elven ranger with a mysterious past. And Waywocket, a sly gnome warlock who probably had a mysterious past, but she doesn't last long. Don't get attached. The party, seeking adventure, gathered to meet with Dazan, a wizard of the insular and arcane brotherhood, in the 3-flag-sailing tavern in Targus, one of the 10 towns of 10 towns in Icewind Dale in the far northern reaches of the continent. Each had their own reason for seeking adventure in the Dale, though none were particularly forthcoming with details. Dazan tasked them with finding either Jarrett, Merrick, or whoever had guided them up the mountain called Kelvin's Cairn in search of any sign of the fallen Netheril city, said to contain a source of immense magical power. Dazan gave everyone a pin to signify their employment with the Arcane Brotherhood and sent them on their way to find the lost party. Some proudly displayed the pins, and some pocketed them, preferring not to broadcast their allegiance, wary of their new friend. Before departing, the party enjoyed the most mediocre stew they had ever tasted, courtesy of Ethan Ma Yarbrough, the tavern's cook. She was also able to direct them to Jarrett's house. Along the way they met Boy, a sled dog detached from its sled. Laremy made fast friends with Boy, who led them straight to Jarrett's house. They knew something was wrong. A man met them at the door, introduced himself as Keegan Velrin, and pleaded with them to bring his husband Jarrett back. They of course accepted, and with Boy in tow, they set out for adventure. Traveling swiftly across the tundra, they stopped for the night in Bryn Shander, another of 10 towns, 10 towns. They took rooms at the Northlook Tavern, where Belissimo put on a rousing but rather unsettling performance on his flute, eventually joined by Laremy and his lute after he made a stop at the outfitters for supplies. The party was then approached by a local guardswoman, Hlyn Trollbane, who thought they might be suited to solve the murders that had been happening in 10 towns. "Strange murders have been happening in 10 towns, they have, but only in towns that have sacrificed people to the Frost Maiden," she said. "They're trying to end this blighted eternal night that's fallen upon the whole of the Dale. The last murder was in Easthaven. I suspect," she went on, "that it has something to do with Torga Icevane's market. I'll give you 400 gold to solve these killings." "We would love to help," Belissimo replied, worried about both the killings and the human sacrifice. "Already made a promise to Jarrett to try and find his husband. We'll keep an eye out and do what we can." "No promises," added Kelagor as they made their way to their rooms for the night. Starting very early the next morning, they traveled to the small town of Cairn, where they spent an uneventful evening at the local inn, Dinev's Rest. Rumors about town suggested that the speaker, the town's chief administrator, was sick, as he had not been seen for weeks, but as the party already had plenty on their plate, they chose to file it away for another time. The next morning, they traveled a short distance to the even smaller town of Cair Konig, where Jarrett had last been seen. At Frozenfar Expeditions, they stocked up on supplies and gathered what information they could on Jarrett's expedition. They were able to get directions to where his base camp should be, and hurried to the mountain. Arriving at the base of the mountain, the party came upon the previous party's outpost, where they found a bad omen. Their sled dogs were alone, famished, and still tied to their sleds. After feeding and freeing the dogs, they continued forward up the mountain. An uneventful encounter with some mountain goats led them further up, where they narrowly escaped a powerful avalanche. Once safe, they found Jared in the snow. Jared had escaped a Yeti attack and tried to lure the Yeti away from his party. He now had no idea where they were, and his injuries and exhaustion prevented him from searching.
"Please, ye have to find them. They're no match for the Yetis," he pleaded.
The party agreed to let him rest while they carried on their search. It was then that 2 huge, snarling mountain cats attacked the party. The party worked together to bring down the cats. One escaped, while the other was cut to pieces. Unfortunately, Waywocket was gravely injured in the fray, and the party did all they could to save her. Successfully. They then carried forward up the mountain in search of the lost adventuring party and what they may have found on the lost Netheril city.